What's up everyone, it is Quella Graphic Love coming to you with yet another video. I hope that everyone has been doing stupendous. I hope that your 2021 has been going pretty smoothly, and before you know it, we'll be already to the holidays and Christmas. So yeah, this year has already been going by pretty fast. I hope that you guys have been keeping in check with your mental health, as well as just making the best of that you can with this time. I wanted to bring some light, in spite of the times. To start off this video, I want to bring in a candle, my favorite current candle. This one is from Bath & Body Works, none other. And it was actually recommended to me from a friend of mine who actually works there. Shout out to you, girl. She knows I'm a huge coffee connoisseur, coffee lover. I love any and everything coffee. It's an addiction at this point. So she recommended to me, and this is just my candle holder. I got it from Ross, I believe. But yeah, is this not the cutest candle holder? Anywho, so within this candle holder, I have this candle right here. It is called Paris Cafe. And oh my goodness, this candle smells exactly like coffee. It smells just like a coffee shop, like a true coffee shop. It doesn't smell like watered down or fake or too sweet. It's like a good balance. And I'm like sitting in my room and I'm like, dang, why am I smelling coffee? But for this particular video, I'm going to touch on some money making topic. I want to start a series here called my Glow Up series. And pretty much with the Glow Up series, it's going to be showcasing how I glowed up. That just sounds so wrong. I glowed up in my finances, spirituality, emotional, physical, and those different areas where I have experienced tremendous growth and how I got where I was to where I am today. And I like to share like the backstory on things because I think it helps to give perspective for the viewers and also people who are interested in knowing themselves. So for today's money making glow up series installment, it's going to be about my finances and also financially how I glowed up. This video, I'm not going to be saying how many dollar amounts I make or I'm a millionaire or trillionaire because I'm not yet. But what I'm just going to be touching on is how I grew up and the backstory and the part that finances had to play when it came to my upbringing and the importance of money and learning financial literacy. And that's something I really want to push as well, just learning the basics of financial literacy. Also sharing that information with others who are interested because financial literacy is crucial. It's not something that I was taught. It was something that I had to learn along the way. And also with this information, I know like a lot of our backgrounds and especially within your culture, depending on your culture, finances is kind of like taboo. You don't really talk about it. Or finances are to be born into wealth. But some of us, we just had to learn by just doing and just learning by our upbringing. So to give a little backstory on my Glow Up Financial series, I grew up in a family of 7. There were 2 adults, mom, dad, and there were 5 kids, and we all lived in one household. There were 3 girls and 2 boys. So I have twin brothers, and I have an older sister and a sister right under me. And growing up with such a large size family, to tend to all those people and the children, and we weren't really close in age. Like me and my older sister are 3 years apart, me and my younger sister are 5 years apart, and me and my younger brothers, I believe, were like 9 years apart. Aside from that, just growing up, when it came to finances for a family that large, it was definitely tough. It was tough trying to put clothes on the backs of all those children. It was tough feeding, dinners and lunches and snacks and groceries in the household. It was tough when you had needed extracurricular activities and when you needed money for field trips and needed money for this or that. And based on the 2 parents' incomes, because we were children, we didn't have jobs, that also had a financial impact on them. So in turn, you kind of just had to literally figure it out along the way. And I would say we definitely were not middle class. We definitely were not high class at all. We were just getting by. We weren't like in poverty or anything. We weren't rich and we weren't well off. We weren't fully poor, but I'll say that one missed paycheck, we would have been poor on the streets. In regards to finances, when it came to jobs, my mother was a nurse and my father was an electrician, and they were both in the military. But after a while, my father, he would have a job and then he kind of lose a job. And it was kind of like a repeating cycle as I got older into my teen years until he just stopped working entirely. In turn of my father not having steady employment, financial responsibility would fall on my mom. And it was tougher because even with two incomes, it was still like we were living on the edge and living paycheck to paycheck. But it became a thing where the financial burden fell on my mother, and my father would kind of pick up the slack here and there whenever he did get stable employment again. And it was due to like he had a few accidents and stuff. It wasn't like he wasn't intentionally not trying to work, but there were some times where he just forgot that he had 5 kids to take care of. So because our finances were not always steady and income was not always the best, we did face a lot of repossessions and evictions. We moved a lot growing up. Like, even when I hear stories of my friends, they're like, oh yeah, this is our family home. We grew up here and we lived in this house ever since I was a baby or ever since I was a child, and I went to all the schools here. It was always like weird to me because like we never had a family home. We never had like a childhood home. We just lived a lot of places. We moved a lot, and that was kind of what it was. Just going to school and not being able to have money for extracurricular activities all the time, or wanting to do different sports or try out for different things or different field trips. It was not like we didn't have it, but it was just like, I'll see. Very tight way of living. And as a child, that type of environment, growing up in that, really stresses you out and gives you unwanted stress. So you're like, man, are we gonna get new school clothes? And it'll be a thing like we were always grateful for whatever we got. We wore a lot of hand-me-downs, and we get like a pair of shoes any school year. We didn't really get our hair done and stuff like that all the time. But, you know, it was like we just had enough to have enough. Like, income tax season was Christmas for our family. You knew when the income tax came because we got a little bit extra. We got a little bit more groceries. You got a little bit more. Don't it look just like that meme with Countess Vaughn? We got a little bit more. Went out to eat maybe once out of the month. And that was one thing too. Like, we never went out to eat like that. It would be once a month. It would be to like somewhere like a McDonald's or something. But a lot of the times it would be something at the house, or it would just be whatever we had. As a teenager, I never had a job, but I always applied. But I was mainly applying to help my family so we could have money to do a little bit more and also to take care of more things. But in that time, like, I don't know, it's just like you had to know somebody to kind of get a job. Whereas kids nowadays, like this generation, you can get a job anywhere, do anything, your credentials, none of that matters. You know, as long as you can do the job, they're going to pay you, because it's so many jobs, so many jobs. And that's a really good advantage as well, because I remember applying to movie theaters and applying to fast food, retail, pretty much any and everything that I could think of, but nothing really went through. I didn't get my first job until my first year of college. I worked as an admin assistant for student affairs. So I would do like, you know, little office work. I do the flyers and the posters for the events around the campus. I would assist with the office tasks for all the different directors and professors that worked in that little hub. I had my own supervisor, but I was like doing things for everybody else there too. And that job, I believe it paid $8 an hour, and I was working like maybe 12 hours per week when I first started. And then that'd be like a 24-hour check. So it was a little something, but it was enough for me to get food and get groceries and stuff. And then after that, after I worked the job, the hours got a little bit better. So I was working 30 hours, and then the pay was always $8. Yeah, I don't think it ever went up from $8, but it was always $8, and I got like 30 hours per week. So it went up. And then in my last year of college, I got a second job, and this job I got it through a friend of mine. He worked in food service, so it's like this like little fry hut. I'll have a picture inserted so I'll show you guys my uniform, but it was actually a pretty decent job. I made team lead, and I also made like shift manager. So I moved up in that, and I think the most that I made at that job, I can't remember. Was it like $9.50 or $10 an hour? I can't remember. But pretty much I had those 2 jobs, and those were helping me pay for school expenses, groceries. The reason I got the second job because I really desperately needed a car, and that helped pay for my biggest bill, which is just my car note and my insurance. It's just a thing of, I also wanted to have my own money. I couldn't turn to mom and dad to, hey, can I have $150 to do this or do that? You know, I couldn't depend on them because they were still taking care of the family back at home and take care of my younger siblings. And I remember when I was in college, my dad, he had like a Walmart relatable card, so he put grocery money on there, and he like, yeah, you know, I loaded it up, you know, you'll be able to buy as much groceries as you want. So it would be like $40 on the card, but then he would use the card for his own expenses. So by the time I got the card, I had like a 2-day, I had to use the card within 3 days or he would touch it or think I wasn't using it. So there'd be times I'd go to that $40 card and it would be $20. It would be $30. It would be, and I would go back and listen to the transactions, and I'm like, why did he give me this card if he's using it for his own personal expensive and it's supposed to help me with the groceries? And at that time, this was like my first, second year, and it was very short-lived. It just was like, you know, I can't depend on this money or him to provide me with groceries, because I would, with that money, I would sit there and divvy out, I would look through all the circulars, Winn-Dixie, Publix, Dollar Tree, whichever one got my best bargain. And around this time, Dollar Tree was introducing more food items. So like how you can go grocery shopping at Dollar Tree now, it was just starting back then. This was like, I'm saying back then, but this was like in 2012, 2013. Between 2010 and 2013, this is the duration of all this college job stuff. Those 2 jobs, I just really would go through and figure out, okay, what's the best bargain for meats? How many meals can I spread this out? I would meal prep and I would do lunches, all those things, just because I wanted to make sure like I had enough to take care of myself and provide for myself. When I had my 2 jobs and my 2 sources of income, it really showed me how to manage my money a lot better. So like I said, growing up with the lack of financial preparation that my family faced and working paycheck to paycheck, I always made sure every paycheck I put aside $10, $15, $20 and put it into my savings, or I would have the credit thing where like it would round up and put the change in like your savings. So at that time, that's the methods that I was using to really save money. And with those jobs, I only used what I needed and I just saved the rest, or just sit in my account. So like I said, insurance, car note, groceries. You know, you had your fun times in college, so we go out a little bit here and there. I might splurge a little bit, but I wasn't stupid. I didn't go on like any shopping sprees or anything. I made sure all the things that needed to be taken care of were taken care of first. With the 2 jobs that I had in college, my paydays and my pay weeks would alternate. So if I got paid for job A this week, I would get paid for job B the next week. And it was really helpful because I always had a check coming in. It wasn't like, oh, I'm not getting paid this week. And it was a really liberating feeling. Mind you, when I had these 2 jobs, I was also taking 5 classes. So it was like 4 or 5 class schedule, full-time college student, 2 jobs. I started to take up freelance on the side. If I've not mentioned before, I am a graphic designer and my career is in graphic design. I also have my Bachelor's of Fine Arts degree in graphic design, and I would, in my last year of college, I picked up very heavily on freelance. So I would take freelance clients, do one-off projects here and there, get a little pocket change, get a little bit of money. And then a little bit after I got out of college, I started doing more serious freelance for like a few franchises, small businesses here in the city. So that would help with a good amount of my money as well. But as I was working these 2 jobs and saving here and managing how much my dollar could stretch and budgeting, I didn't realize that I was pretty much practicing financial literacy. I just knew I did not want that for myself. I did not want to be living in lack where we're living paycheck to paycheck and we don't have enough for this, have enough for that. I want to have enough for a rainy day. I want to have enough for an emergency for my car. I want to have enough if I want to do something nice for myself. I want to have enough if I need to do this or do that. I didn't realize like those were the steps to financial literacy. So I will also include what financial literacy is. Found this really cool diagram that I'll insert, and pretty much from this diagram, it explains very thoroughly why financial literacy breaks up into the different parts. So although at that age I did not yet master it, I was finally realizing, now I realize that I was practicing financial literacy without actually knowing what it was. So according to this diagram and according to the chart, the 8 ways of financial literacy are self-motivation, budget planning, consumption habits, debts administration, savings, risk management, investments, retirement plans, and insurances. So I didn't have any retirement plans at the age of 19, 20. I didn't have any yet. I didn't have an established job or anything. So that kind of goes out of the way. The main ones were 1 through 5. And then also in that, I didn't realize that I was practicing multiple streams of income and just the importance of having multiple streams where your money is not just coming from one source, but it's funneling from various sources. And this really helps have money or some type of financial resource coming from somewhere, whether it be active or passive. You have some kind of monetary distribution being deposited into your account, whether you're actually working or you've created something where it gives you revenue and money on its own. After college, I did obtain a few professional jobs within my career field, and I only continued to practice the savings, the budgeting, the planning, because around that time, I didn't have the cushion of college under me. I had to find out how to pay rent. I had to figure out bills and put things in my name, in electricity and cable, and these were things where I had to provide and take care of myself. And at that point in time, I was like, really heavily budgeting because I had never paid rent before. I was 21 years old, 640 square foot studio apartment. And it was cute, it was fun, but it was tight. It was very tight. And in the midst of that, I did get laid off because there were some budget and some departmental changes at the job I was at. I didn't have a job and I didn't have any income coming in. But I did have income coming in because I was still doing freelance with a franchise. And that'd be monthly projects that she would assign me to work on for the franchise. Midst of that, I opened up my first bank account. I was like maybe 19 years old. When I opened up my first bank account, they gave me a credit card. I did not touch that credit card until 3 years later. The reason I did not touch my credit card because number one, I didn't understand the concept of credit card. My association with it was negative. Realized, okay, credit cards report to your credit. Anytime I heard any association with credit cards, it was a negative. So I was like, you know what? I'm never using my credit card. They can take this back. I don't want it. And I had a $1,000 limit. The only time I ever used that credit card was when I lost my job, the layoff. The freelance projects were kind of, like I said, they were project based. And I had bills that I had to pay. I still had rent. I still had car note, all those things. But thank God my credit card came through. So by the time I was to that last max, I only had $1,000. It wasn't a lot. But by the time I had that, I got another job and I was able to successfully obtain a better means of employment and be a while to pay that card off. But I did not use that card unless emergency. And still today, I have one credit card. That same credit card, and I'm in my late 20s now. I use that card for gas because it points back when you use it for gas that you can then put back on the card and then use. So I literally only use that card for gas. I don't use it for anything else. I continue to practice those things. I continue to transfer those into whatever job and employment that I went into. I had a few small businesses, a few side businesses that were also generating income. So I was able to budget and plan how much I needed for this or how much I needed for that, how much it'd be able to take care of myself. Even today, from those practices of learning how to manage my finances, I've been able to live very comfortably. Seriously, I'm so grateful and so thankful that, certain situations show you what not to do. With that, you're just like, well, I hope that I'm making the right choices and the right decisions. I don't want to fall in the same paths and the same steps because you just have that fear when you've been brought up in that type of environment. You have that fear like, oh man, I'll go broke if I don't pay this bill or I don't do this. When it comes to my bills and stuff now, my car note is paid on time every single month. Every single bill I've paid on the date. I do not pay any bills late. I have everything written in my phone and my planner, the days when bills are due. But that just really helps me to stay on top of that, because I don't want to be without a car. I don't want to be evicted. I don't want to have my lights turned off. Like, those things are kind of trauma things that you've gone through as a kid. Like, you remember coming home, no food in the house. When I go grocery shopping, I stack for the lunch, the dinners, the everything for weeks. And I'm very conscious of my purchases and the pricing and if I can get a good deal. Even something now today, you know, like if I want to go and get this or do that, or if I want to go on this trip, on that trip, I have set it up so I'm able to do that, where it wouldn't be taken away from a bill. It won't be taken away from a financial obligation that's already in place. My savings, at the point that my savings is at now, within the past like 3 years, I've been heavily contributed to my savings, to the point where I'll divvy out all my bills for the month, see how much I have left over, and cut it in chunks. Okay, every 2 weeks I can put $250 into my savings. I can put this over here to that. Or I can just have it to where I'm very cautious of my spending, especially if I have a goal that I want to reach. So I recently got a new camera and a new laptop. These tech things are not cheap. Oh, and a new phone. These tech things are not cheap. Let me remind you, let me tell you, this phone, I have the iPhone 12 now. I had the iPhone 7 since 2016. And it's 2021, and I just got the iPhone 12. So look at how long that took me. My previous laptop, it was a 2009 MacBook Pro, and it was pooping out on me, and I bought it off of eBay. I had that since 2011, 2012. It's 2021. I got my computer in 2020. So see, look, it took that long. My camera, this camera that I'm using, it wasn't that big of an investment, but it was the most I ever paid for a camera. What I did was I took partial of my savings and partial of my regular check, and I bought this camera. The camera that I had before, I bought from the pawn shop, and it was like $150, or it was somewhere around in the hundreds, and it was a Nikon D3100, I believe. I'll put a picture of how it looks. And that camera had no autofocus, no nothing, no Wi-Fi capabilities, no Bluetooth, nothing. And do you see that? Like, it's not like I'm splurging on these items. It's like I've maxed it out until as long as I can, because I don't want to be buying things like, oh, I always got to have the new iPhone. Every new MacBook that comes out, I got to get. Oh, every upgrade for my camera and lens, I have to have. No, you have to really see if it even fits for what you need. And all these things are investments into my craft, into my business. So those are good ways to look at it as well. If you want to invest in your craft, for me, I need a camera and a laptop, a functioning laptop. I need hard drives to connect it to. I need external hard drives. I need different lighting setups to do videos. I need different equipments like a mic, a stand, a monopod, tripod. Like, these things are investments, and they're not like I'm just buying them because, oh, you know, I'm just blowing money fast. No, I'm making smart investments. And that's the one thing I want to say about financial literacy. There's nothing wrong with buying things or spending your money, but just make sure it's smart and advisable and that it makes sense. Smart investments, all 2021. Back to my savings. At the rate I've been saving, I have exceeded and pretty much tripled my savings goal that I set for myself. And when I look at my savings account, when I look at my paychecks from my job, when I work on this and I get something back from a client, you have to just know, like, at first when you're saving all that, when you're getting all that money and you kind of feel like, oh, something doesn't feel right. Why does this money feel so easy to get? Or why is my savings growing so quick? Like, you get excited and you get a good feeling when you start saving your money and you see your savings build up to however much. Like, if you have $2,000 as your saving goal, or I don't know, $3,000. At one point in time, I had my savings account. I had opened an account and it was strictly for savings, and it was called 3K savings goal. And I think I doubled. Yeah, I did double and triple that. And I was very proud of myself. So I had to take the 3K off. It's not like I'm just sitting there saving money just to watch money grow. But I have plans and things that I want to do with that money, invest it into another business, to pay for expenses. I'm making smart moves with this money, and also for rainy day. Hey everyone, if you've made it this far in the video, I'm currently editing this video, so this is future Quella talking. I wanted to bring up something in regards to my savings. I recently opened up a high yield savings account. Prior to this video, I had no clue what a high yield savings account was, and pretty much that is an account where you can put a larger lump sum of your savings that actually grows over time, so you get an average interest rate or something like that added on to your money as you have it in these accounts. So you can still deposit and withdraw from a high yield savings account. And prior to this, I was just having my money in a regular checking saving account. So my emergency fund is now officially in a high yield savings account. And while it's in there, it is making money as it sits. So yeah, that's something I just found out, and I hope you guys knew before I did, but it's never too late. So continue the video. Thanks. Hey, or if I want to travel, or if I want to go somewhere, like I don't ever want to get held back by finances. The point that I'm in my life currently financially, I'm very proud of myself, but I know I still have other financial goals that I want to meet, that I want to reach. But just seeing the markers that I've already hit, it only encourages me and makes me only motivated to push harder to reach more savings goals, reach more financial goals. And for the reasons behind them, I just honestly cannot wait. I'm very excited for my future financial endeavors. Like I said, just growing up in the environment of struggling and not having enough and living paycheck to paycheck and just always being very stressed or scared or on edge because you didn't know when the lights were going to cut off. You didn't know whether to come and pick up your furniture, couches, and your appliances, Rent-A-Center. We've all been there. Rent-A-Center has all come and picked up our stuff. I don't know what you guys, maybe it's errands up north. Rent-A-Center will come get your stuff in a hot minute. It won't care. Bring that huge U-Haul truck and come to pick up just a microwave or just a TV. Or just a bedroom set. Well, the bedroom set makes sense, but from experience, I've seen all these things be taken away. Yeah, you know, like I just don't want to live like that. And there are some people that will, especially family too, will make you feel like, oh, they might look at you a different way because you choose to spend your money on savings, or, you know, you're not spending to your last all the time. They think like, oh, you must be made of money, or you must have a lot of money in your account. You must be rich or something, because they don't see you looking, I guess, broke down or looking. It's just this weird concept, and I've faced it. This doesn't make any sense to me. Like, you know, I've come from that struggle. I don't want my life now to be that struggle. You know, if I can have a hold on my finances, if I can have a hold on what I want my money smarts to be invested in, I'm going to do that, and I'm going to take control of that. I just know, like, when it comes to money, we have such a tight hold on it. That's why it's like, you're scared to lose it, scared to save it, scared to invest it, scared to, you know, you got to kind of just let the grip go of money. Just tying the worth to it. I know, like, growing up, it's like there's so much worth in money when you got to hold on to your last dollar. But if you're practicing your finances right and financial literacy, you won't have to have such a tight grip on your money. You know, you'll let it flow out of your hands with, okay, I'm buying all these groceries so I can eat. I'm paying my car note so I can drive my car. I'm paying my rent so I have a place to live, at least for the next 30 or 31 days. We don't know. You know, it's a gamble. Rent due on the 1st. And you don't even know if you're going to survive the rest of the month. It's a gamble. It's a gamble. So, for my future financial goals in my Glow Up series, I am hoping and expecting to transition into the home ownership sector. I am itching to buy a home. And my only thing is, like, I don't know where I want to live. Like, I don't know where I want to call home yet. City, state. I have a few ideas, but I haven't really solidified anything. Ready to make that move when it comes to growing older and having that type of stability, that home stability with you. My current car will be paid off this year. Yes, that is such a victory. It'll be the first car that I've ever owned. It's my second car, but it'll be the first car that I owned. Very, very, very important to me because we've never owned cars. Nobody in my family has like paid off a car to keep to own. It's been like, oh, we rent this turn this in, rent this, you know, never really paying off any of the loans, but this car will be my car. So I do plan on in the future to get my dream car, but I'm definitely gonna be rocking that Kia Forte for as long as I can. And it's not outdated or anything, it's a 2014, so, you know. And I keep up with my car. Another financial goal of mine in my glow up journey is to invest and start a few businesses that I have my eye on. I'm kind of leaning more in towards food service industry. I have a idea that I've really been working on for the past year and really putting into motion the moving parts so we can get that off the ground. And that's just one of the businesses, and also investing in a few other ideas that I have. My financial goal is definitely to continue to save. And as the diagram showed, I want to get more into investments, like assets, pretty much. I currently do have a retirement plan through my job, and I do want to have I think it's called a Roth IRA, where I do have my own retirement that I pay into that also builds over time. So I want to continue to have that just as a backup. I know right now people are projecting by the time we get older, there will be no such thing as retirement, no such thing as Social Security and all that stuff. And I don't really want to depend on those be my financial stability when I get that age. Of course, I want my money when it's deserved to me and I worked for it. But I don't want to be like, I'm waiting on my retirement check or my Social Security check to come through for me to be able to take care of myself. I just want that to be in addition to the finances that I already have and just continue to grow. And also to help my future family and my future endeavors and all those things that are to come. I will do some drawbacks on my financial glow up. I will admit, well, I've made some stupid spending choices. So when it comes to my consumption habits, I want to continue to only zero in and monitor that more. I don't always have to buy things, especially home decor and like clothes and stuff. I'm just going to get a little more tight gripped on that. You know, every little cute piece that I see, I don't have to get. But I would say that's my biggest consumption habit. I don't really eat out a lot. I only eat out during occasions. So if we're going somewhere doing something, that's when I'll eat out. But if there's a night where I don't feel like cooking, that's when I'll eat out. But just those small purchases that add up, and I want to just be a little bit more mindful when it comes to that. And I might need to cut off my Wi-Fi so I can stop online shopping. And I online shop for everything, not just clothes, but everything. That's another downfall of my financial literacy and my financial glow up that I need to nip in the bud before it spirals out of control. Thank goodness I don't have any like gambling or any crazy addictions like that, but I know if you're a big spender and you're spending and anything can turn into like a gambling type of instance. So that about wraps up my financial glow up literacy installment of the glow up series, and I wanted to just be open and transparent about it. If you guys are interested in more videos on finances like this, or want to know how I was able to get a handle on my savings or track my spendings or budgeting or anything like that, I'm very open to sharing that information. If you're someone who's in college, who's just figuring out as well and would like any tips or pointers, I can definitely provide that. One thing I want to add is the fact of finances and financial literacy, it should not be anything scary. So I don't want anybody to face it and look at it like, oh, you know, I'll never be able to afford my own car, I'll never be able to afford my own house, my own place, stuff like that. That's not the case. And that's a lack mindset. You don't want to go in with financial literacy with that kind of mindset. So I just encourage you, like, just even taking the step. Out of that pie chart of 8, taking the step of one of those is still a step in the right direction to get your finances on track and to be a little bit more financially aware and responsible. I think that's very important for a lot of people my age, a lot of young adults. Just get a hold on your finances at a young age and try not to make any stupid purchases or just any frivolous purchases. Just be very mindful of your spending, your investments, everything. So that's it for today's video. I am so glad that you guys tuned in, and leave your comments if you guys have anything snazzy to say. Until next time, bye guys.